Hey, everybody, and welcome to another casual chat. This is super awesome. Thank you all for joining again. Here we are highlighting the incredible people who have some kind of story that is either exceptionally irresistible, or they're running a business that's exceptionally irresistible, or just all the above of exceptionally irresistible. Who doesn't want to be exceptionally irresistible? And so one of our super highlights that we want to highlight is Will Walker. I absolutely love this guy. I'm sure you guys will too. And I'm super, super, super stoked that he was able to make it today. He does go by William or Will or however. So without further ado, William Walker, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Really excited to have this conversation and see where it goes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is the casual chat section, so nothing formal. We're just gonna have a fun time, and I'm sure the audience will have it too. I'm gonna take a quick second just to read your bio, which is very short, and I love it, sweet to the point.
Yeah,
And then we'll jump right into who are you.
yeah,
So William describes himself as a champion for those around me. I absolutely love that. I'm here to inspire creativity and exploration. Those were quotes unquotes from William himself. So, without further ado, William, it's been a while since we last spoke.
yeah.
So, catch me up. What's up?
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely has been some time. I've really done some deep exploration myself in terms of just like trying to determine who I was and who I am, and I think the word that captures my essence the best is a champion, and that's why it's part of my bio. I've worked
Wow.
very hard to get it that concise. It took it took a lot of work. Yeah.
No, I totally love it. And I was right before this, we were recording some of our work of happiness stuff. And one of the parts of work of happiness is the affirmations. And then like just after I'm like it's so fresh in my mind because I was just finished recording it and I'm reading your bio in preparation for this interview and I'm like, damn, this guy's good with affirmations. Not that many people are good with it. So that stood out, and it's so funny you bring that up today. So thank you for that, and it's really incredible
Yeah.
that you've coined that. And I guess let's dig a little bit deep. I mean, the last time we spoke and when we first met, I think you were back in the financial stuff. You were doing finances and stuff. So
Yeah,
refresh
yeah.
my memory.
So when we last spoke, I was actually a financial advisor, and
Right,
the main message I was pushing out was more about financial mindfulness.
right,
And
yes,
that, as I explored it a little deeper, brought forth a couple of different additional interests of mine. Um, but I didn't like the field of financial advising specifically because the more
mm,
I looked at it, the more I dissected it. It's really just glorified life insurance sales. So like
mm,
eventually the conversation you have to have is centered around planning for death. And
right,
that's not the way that I want to approach people's finances is like, okay, so you might die. So
yeah,
here's something that you can do to prevent that.
right,
Um, so I'm still in finance right now. I work at Aberdeen Standard Investments. They're
hmm,
a UK based firm. Like they're really big in the UK. I'd say they're the UK equivalent of BlackRock, and most people have heard
okay,
BlackRock.
yeah,
But they have a small business in the US, and I work within their ETF department. So I
nice,
just read about the economy all day
mm,
and
wow,
just like try to deliver some insights for the business. But in terms of like what I do outside of work, I'm starting to kind of play with the messaging of financial mindfulness a little bit more and trying to attack financial um, planning from the angle of life design. Like
right,
I think seeing it from that angle is a little bit better than seeing it from planning for death. So when I say life
mm,
design, I'm more so thinking, okay, what kind of life do I want to live? What how much attachment to things, how many things do I need to have in my life?
sure, sure,
What is my baseline essentially
mm,
of happiness? I think Rameth Sethi calls it a money dial. Um,
hmm,
he wrote the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich, for those that may not know him by name. And his concept of money dials is like, okay, so if we're going out to dinner, some people are completely okay eating McDonald's quality food every single day, like something that's cheap, easy. Hopefully it's actually something that's healthy for them, but McDonald's was just
Sure.
to drive the point that it was cheap. And then there's
Right.
people that need to go to like 3-star Michelin restaurants every day.
Hmm.
So it's like kind of finding where you fit, like
Right.
understanding your own personal exploration enough within a bunch of different categories to design a life that is catered towards you and not what society expects of you.
So designing your own standards is what you're saying.
Yeah, designing your own standards, recognizing and kind of shedding the societal programming from
Right.
your definition. Because I think a lot of people still want the shiny new because society has made them want the shiny and new, but some people are
Right.
completely content driving a 2014 Toyota Corolla instead of a Lamborghini,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right.
Like,
Right.
so it's like,
Mhm.
I think when people actually look at their lives from the angles like, okay, what do I want? You realize that you can build your dream life a lot easier than you really think.
So true. And I mean, you're driving an excellent point, and I think really the audience is getting so much value of what you're sharing with us because and by the way, guys, we will show you how to connect with Will here. But it's really important because there are so many people who fall into that, whirlwind of finances. I feel that most people do not fully understand finances. And I feel that we all have the opportunity to live a comfortable life. I'm not going to say rich. I'm not going to say, all that stuff, whatever. That's a mindset, which we're going to talk about. It's just like I'm recalling now all of our conversations, the abundance mindset, all that stuff, which we're going to get into a second. But I'm just driving to point that comfortable, you decide what is considered comfortable for you. Um, and just as an example, we about a year ago we brought a brand new car from the dealership, and it's like it was never in my imagination, like in my dream, that I would ever go to a dealership and buy a brand new car off the lot.
Yeah.
But if I never got that email that said, "Hey, you seem to have this model that we want, and hey, if you want my model, you better give me something good in return," kind of thing, which is just basic business, right? But it really is about the idea of knowing where your comfort baseline is and living on that baseline. So I really appreciate that you're talking about that. It's really important.
Yeah, I think the term I'm trying to coin almost is it's not budgeting, it's just buying better. So
Right.
recognizing and buying the things that you want around you, because money ultimately can be a tool that you use to bring additional comfort, safety,
Hmm.
and life satisfaction. I think a lot of people misuse the tool.
Right. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have an unhealthy relationship towards money. Whether it's I want too much of it, or I have too little of it, or I'm afraid of it, or I don't know how to make it, or all that kind of stuff. And I think that's one thing that really attracted me, to you and what you're doing, is that idea of that mindfulness around finances, and how to use that tool effectively, in the sense of, don't, I guess, idolize it or make it into some kind of god in a way that a lot of people seem to be doing it. Either they're too afraid of it, or they want too much of it, or whatever it is. I think that's really important, what you're talking about.
Thank you. I also find it important. And I think I've recognized just how much internal work it takes to kind of get to that point. And
Sure.
the reason my domain that I've stolen, well, not stolen, it's mine, I bought it rightfully, is start with
Mhm.
thought, is because I
Right.
think that's where you have to start. A lot of people need to dissect the way that they think about money, but also the way that
Hmm.
they think about going through their day to day,
Right.
and kind of learning how to dissect their thinking, and utilizing a better mental model for
Hmm.
approaching money, finances, living. And I genuinely think that money is it's the foundation of our society. So it's like,
Sure.
if you want to kind of recognize how to go about the world, you kind of have to have some baseline knowledge. Like, you don't have to be an expert. Like, I'm not
Right.
expecting people to know, okay, if the Fed raises rates by 3%, how is that going to affect gold prices? Like, no, you don't need to know
Hmm.
that. But what you need to know is if the Fed is raising interest rates, that means it might be a bad time to buy a house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly so. And and I think like where it kind of was the aha moment for me was I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and it was kind of like I was reading the book and I'm going through the book and everything, and there's a lot of like finances and your mindsets and all the, if you could imagine being rich, all that kind of stuff. But so the way I read books is I'm
Yeah.
perhaps different than how other people read books. But what I like to do is I like to kind of like put myself in the shoes of the author and say, what was he thinking when he wrote that? What was he, where was he when he was putting this together? What was his mindset when he was writing that? And I spent a very long time just meditating just on the title itself and then kind of like making it my own. And where it was very much like think about richness, which in my interpretation is just the freedom of finance, just the financial freedom. So I don't say rich as in Lamborghini rich, but like I don't have to look at my credit card and cringe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, so it's all about thinking and growing. So it's that there's like I have to have a good mindset towards it, and it's this constant growth that I'm working on myself, which brings me to the topic of abundance mindset, which is not just for me, my interpretation, and I would love to hear your interpretation. But my personal interpretation is not necessarily abundance as in just in finances, but abundance in everything in my life, in my behavior, in my attitude. And if I grow as an individual, then naturally I will also grow in my finances in a sense, or my relationship towards my finances. So that was the way I got to this mindset of like it's all about how I look at finances or how I grow and these kind of things. And obviously, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about abundance mindset and how it
Yeah.
ties in.
Yeah. I wanna go back because I don't read every book like that, but I read
Okay.
books like that. Because when
Uh
you
huh.
try to approach a book from understanding everything that they're teaching, and kind of like taking it all as fact, you might
Hmm.
miss the point of the book. Like you have to
Right.
understand their perspective, their unique view, and
Right.
recognize which ones specifically apply to you, and
Right.
then also like what might have led them to creating that. Like why was that important to
Hmm.
them? What problem were they trying to solve?
Right.
And like you said, I very much agree with your interpretation of the book because when you take it from that perspective, you do recognize the abundance mindset does apply to more than just money. Um,
Right.
but a lot of people read that book and just took it away as like it's just about money. But it's
Uh
like
huh.
it's it's, it's so much more than that. I would say to me, the abundance mindset is very similar. I think it's kind of just leading from a place of um, recognizing that you have enough around you as
Hmm.
opposed to approaching the world from a place of I don't have enough and I need to almost like hoard.
Right.
I think it's easier for you to like say donate to charity if you kind of have that mindset of there's enough around me, um, to kind of give back my myself and to give back my money. I mean, to the society around us. Versus if you kind of go in it with this scarcity mindset, even if you have the money in the bank account, it's gonna be very hard for you to part with it just because of the fact that you're constantly, oh my gosh, I don't have enough. I'm thinking about all the bills that I have to pay, all the
Hmm.
deductions that are coming down the line. What if this happens? What if that happens? And
Right.
it really trickles out into more areas in your life than you really recognize. And I think the abundance
Hmm.
mindset is trying not to let those little things get to you. So
Right.
like you have more cognitive bandwidth to deal with the actual bigger life problems that are like almost existential in nature. The things that are actually going to get in the way of your safety. Like because
Hmm.
you'll need a lot of mental brain power for that stuff.
Sure.
Because I think as I've worked on my relationship with money, I haven't realized just how much the thinking of money comes into your everyday life. Like when you swipe your card at any point throughout the day. I'm very much. I was about to make a Wawa, but I don't know how many people know Wawa on the stream.
Right, yeah.
But if
Depends
I
where they're
go to
from.
Wawa to get some gas,
Mm-hmm.
and especially now to fill my
Right.
tank, I have a '97 Ford Explorer right now.
Oh
To fill
wow.
my tank, it's $90. So it's
Whew.
like I could swipe that and kind of have the thought. It's like, oh my God, I'm never going to survive. I'm never going to financially recover from this.
Mm-hmm.
This is so expensive. I'm thinking about all of the things that this money could be used for, but it's like, hey, you literally need to put gas in your car. So
Right.
why are all these negative thoughts coming in association to something that you need to do?
Right.
Like if I want to drive, I need to pay for gas.
Mm-hmm.
And then I haven't recognized just how much of that negative thought train will go with me for the rest of my day.
Yeah.
So working on the abundance mindset and area of finances, I think actually offsets a lot of load that a lot of people deal with. It's not like not everyone kind of has this mindset of like every time I swipe my card, there's like a nagging in the back of my head. But for the
Mm-hmm.
people that do, you'll recognize just how much if you can just like get that nagging person to be quiet for just a little bit,
Yeah.
um, how much your day is actually drastically improved because you pretty much have to spend
Okay.
money every day.
Yeah. And I think well, something that I talk a lot about with my clients, and we had this sort of conversation back in the day. Um, I think money as specific is where our intrinsic character or behaviors gets manifested. So the way I behave with money um, is just more of a tangible and practical thing. So like you were saying, like every time you're putting that $97 into that pump, as you're pumping your car for gas. Now,
I live
on
in
one
New
hand,
Jersey. I don't have to pump it.
okay,
It gets
even
pumped
better. You're
for me.
lucky. Wow. I actually
Yeah.
do like that about New Jersey. But
Yeah.
yeah, so let's say handing over your car to the guy who's pumping it for you, which you're pretty much handing over $100 to fill up your gas tank. Now, on one hand, you could just be really pissed off, and your whole day just goes to hell, pretty much, because well, whatever your mindset is around. Well, I don't feel like I had to pay $100 for my car, inflation, whatever you want to call it. On the flip of it is just like, hey, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. Probably I'm on my way to volunteering, or I'm on my way to work, or I'm on my way to whatever, to go make this kind of money back again. That's just the actual manifestation of your overall behavior. And so when we dig a little bit deep and we go a little bit to the root of it, that abundance mindset, in a sense, is I'm abundant to everybody, whether I have money or not. I like to tell, my inner circle, my people that are around me, as, people are like, oh, when one day you will be rich, don't forget us. And I'm like, what's the connection? I said, it doesn't matter where the zeros are positioned before or after my one.
Yeah.
Like if it's the zeros before the one or the zeros after the one, I'm the same person.
Yeah.
And just my behavior is the same way. And there was a period in time where I didn't have any money whatsoever. I was pretty much, the community was helping me survive. I was going to people's houses for meals and stuff like that. There was a period of time like that in my life. Yet people thought I was wealthy, and people thought that I had all this money and everything, but it was just simply my attitude, it was my character. I would show up to volunteer, I would show up to these charity events, I would show up to these different things because this is what brings me fulfillment. I never once donated in those events when I didn't have money.
You're
Um,
donating your time.
but I was donating my time.
Yeah.
And which is the same, effectively, it's the same behavior. And that's what I'm driving at. It's that abundance mindset is not just the physical financial part of it. That's just one of its manifestations, but it's my attitude towards it.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. And it can definitely trickle into all aspects of living. And even when you're running a business and thinking of like a business operating model, the ones that are from a place of scarcity, they're going for competition, trying to
Yeah.
attract people by lowering prices. Like it's almost just price gouging. But if you do
Uh-huh.
that from an area of abundance where you kind of have this idea that there are enough clients out there to meet and fulfill, And
Hmm.
you kind of approach it from an angle of, okay, how can I deliver more value to my existing clients because I'm
Right.
not looking to try and steal other people's clients. That is actually what leads to growth. And that is like
Exactly.
kind of, it's everywhere. Like kind of
Yeah.
just recognizing that there's enough. There's no reason to try and limit yourself. There's no reason
Right.
to try and um, think your way negatively down that thought spiral and
Uh-huh.
rush it. You know, just there's enough.
Yeah. And that's
Just
the
go about
term.
life.
Yeah. No, exactly it. And that's the, that's the term that we put together, my business partner and I, which we call the EIW, or the Exceptionally Irresistible Way, which effectively is just a mindset. Really, that's the entire core of our business. Is we sell a mindset, or we sell a perspective rather, and then we invite other people, such as yourself, to join us in this journey. In a sense, that becomes called it's called the BEI journey, the Becoming Exceptionally Irresistible journey, and that's effectively what it is. Is that I believe we're all exceptionally irresistible one way or another. We just have that we're in a life, and life is about growth, and we're always constantly growing and becoming more of what we want to become. So if I want to become more exceptionally irresistible, I'm on that journey of becoming more exceptionally irresistible. um, and that's where we partner up with them. And exactly like to what you're saying, the entire model is a very horizontal model, where we believe that everybody has a fingerprint, and that fingerprint is unique to them, and it's up to them to leave that mark on the world. And then we really, really, really believe that, and we really, promote that, advocate that, celebrate that, all these kind of things. And it's to what you're saying, that no, we don't need competition. We don't need. I mean, if you're already exceptionally irresistible, why am I competing you with, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
not competing you. You know what I mean? And it's just more about, I would love to do business with you, or I would love to even just be associated to you, because you're just another exceptionally irresistible person. And that's really what this sort of movement, or this approach, is all about. And I'd love to hear what your interpretation of exceptionally irresistible, like, how does that come up to you in your life, and what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think to me it is kind of some of the things that you have brought up in your definition based off of like what I've kind of have read from what you've produced and looked at on LinkedIn. I think my interpretation of it is just, yeah, recognizing and coming into who you truly are, that unique fingerprint. Because I think if you search deeply within yourself enough, you know what your character is, like what your pure essence is, and trying to
Hmm.
find a way to just show up as that pure essence, that character every day. Not yielding based off of the opinions and people around you. It's
Hmm.
just finding a way to stay true to that. And I think, as I kind of put in my bio, my exceptionally irresistible character trait to me is can be summarized by just being a champion. And to me, a
Hmm.
champion is being an advocate for those around me, doing what I can to support the people around me, and bringing them up, and making sure that they know internally that they're capable of so much, and being one of the people that just cheers them on in the process. Um,
Yeah.
and I think when I have reflected, that's been one of the traits that draws people to me, is just like being there for them. And no matter what the accomplishment is, I will help you celebrate it. I'm
Hmm.
trying to be a champion for people, and connect them to different aspects and different people, and trying to like their success is truly my success. Like
Yeah.
I'm 100% supportive of people when they come to me.
Uh-huh. I absolutely believe that, and that's why you're here today. But like, when you sent me that bio, the first things that just stood out, and it was really the most, like the one liner bio that you pretty much have there. Um, it was so accurate. It was so like on the head, because the words that stood out to me: champion, inspire, creativity, exploration. These words are, when you really sit down and you actually dissect even each word on its own, is super, super powerful. It's like, well, a lot of coaches these days are just like, oh, you have a problem, I'm an expert in this problem, let me fix that for you. No, like, you're there to really just champion, like, look, this is who I am, this is what I have to offer, if you like it, take it or leave it, basically. That's how I interpret it. And then on the other hand, it's that I am this champion. I just see myself when I look in the mirror. Yeah, by the way, I'm talking will talk here.
Yeah.
When I see myself in the mirror, I see a champion. And not just the fact that I'm a champion for myself, or look at me, I'm the greatest, or any form of ego in that kind of sense, but I'm a champion, and it's my responsibility in a sense to use that championism, or whatever you want to call it, to inspire other people to create that life that they want through exploration. That's when I read that bio. This is right away what came up to me, and I was like, "Dang, this guy is exceptionally irresistible."
Yeah, the people that get it.
Right.
Like the people that have interacted with me are like, yeah, that's spot on. And
Spot
a
on.
lot of
Yes.
people might as they're watching this might know exactly what's going on. But even I'm like learning how to be a coach, and in my coaching methods that I'm trying to implement, really, I'm just trying to be the person that reminds those people when they're like down and out. It's just like, listen, these are all the qualities that you've illustrated to me that you like about yourself. These are all of your strengths. Let's remember these, and let's lean on these, and let's get back out there. Like, don't beat
Right.
yourself up. You might have failed in this capacity, but it's like there's so much more potential within you. Let's see if we can find a new way to figure this problem out. And
Right.
the thing that I lean on the most, some people might call it critical thinking, but I like to attempt to label my critical thinking as creativity, because
Hmm.
I think they're vaguely, weirdly similar in my perspective. Like the
Sure.
critical thinking is kind of just like making connections through thought that people aren't able to see, while creativity is kind of also making connections that people cannot see,
Or
but
missed. Or,
later
yeah.
becomes
Mhm.
appreciated when it
Sure.
works out. Yeah.
Sure. No, absolutely, absolutely love it. And to me, I just get inspired every time I speak to you, and it's like incredible. I think we have to do this more often, you and I, Will.
Yeah.
Not just that every few months or something like that, but no, it's really spot on, and I definitely see it. And you're one of those unique, I guess, coaches, if you want to call it that, that really truly partners up and really champions the people that are around them. Your content is evident of that. Everything that I've seen with you and about you is truly evident, and that's something that just inspires me as I'm growing and as I'm expanding in my business. The same thing. It's all about that partnership. It's not about, hey, I'm an expert, I will band-aid you up, or I'm gonna fix you up, or any of that kind of stuff. It's let's figure this out together. I don't know what you're going through in your life. I don't It's your life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm here just to hopefully, be there by your side throughout, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I
I
think that's very unique. I really appreciate that about you.
Yeah, it's just like I really do genuinely feel that everyone has the skill sets and the capabilities to solve their own problems.
Hmm.
Like, even if I was an expert in a particular field, if I command it down on you, like that's
Yeah.
no good session. Like
Uh-huh.
I like it's more of me being a consultant, not a coach. And
Right.
even in consulting, I don't think that's the best approach, is like to command down.
Right.
It's like you want to almost encourage the person to come to their own realization and have that
Hmm.
aha moment that sparks a
Right.
solution within them. Because ultimately, when it comes from within the person, within the leader of the organization, that is that's when they actually follow through on their solution, because that's something that
Right.
they're passionate about, as opposed to taking my word for it,
Hmm.
because they're not going to be as passionate about implementing whatever I come up with for them, instead of what they've come up for themselves.
Totally. And I have one last question before we were going to wrap up. That I was thinking, like, okay, it's time to wrap up, but I have one more question, just because you
Yeah.
said that. The aha moment part. I know for myself, and I can only talk for myself. When I go to bed at night and I sort of like meditate on how was my day, and what did I do differently this day, whenever my client has an aha moment, to me that's my true fulfillment. Like when I could go to bed at night and say, my accomplishment of the day in a sense was how many aha moments did I get? How many clients got their aha moments today? And that's how I would kind of like rate myself, like, good job, Yermi, you did it, kind of thing. And it's not so much as like I created this aha moment within them, but it's more how much of the aha moment did they figure out on their own, and that they, like, I hope I inspired them enough, and I hope I gave them enough value for them really to come to their aha moment on their own. My question to you is how do you relate to that? Like, what are you like? How do you feel about that aha moment
Yeah.
when your client comes to it, kind of thing?
Yeah. I'm working on having actual paying clients. I've been kind of doing this pro bono as I
Okay. Yeah.
practice. Um, but I think my goal is to really make sure that my client doesn't need me anymore. Like, I want to
Right.
give them all of the tools that they have
Mm,
their own aha moments consistently.
right.
Um, but I think in that work itself almost reinforces the belief that it's like, oh, I enjoy having you around because you do in some way facilitate and help facilitate that aha process. Even though I
Right.
gave them all the tools to kind of do the work
Sure.
on their own. Um, and I genuinely find so much joy in that look on someone's face when they go like,
Right.
like, you
Right.
can tell that there's a gear that unlocked, and it's like, I've never thought about it that way. Like, I've
Yeah.
never even
Mhm.
considered it from that angle. And I love it every time I'm able to
Incredible.
facilitate some and at work, that is like my actual like full-time job. That is pretty much my objective in working, is like, if I'm doing my job correctly, I present information in such a way that it changes the current decision making process within the firm. That is kind
Mm.
of the objective. How much I succeed at that,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
I absolutely love that. It's so incredible, and it's really inspiring. And on the topic of inspiration, um, if there was anybody that inspired you in your life or whatever, and you had the opportunity to have dinner with them, who would that be and why?
yeah, I mean, there's so many people. Um, but I think the first person that came to my mind is Tyler the Creator. Um, I think there's so much creativity in the music that he creates, in the way that he has progressed as an individual from like where he was when he first started his music career to where he is today, and the exploration he's done to just be able to truly express himself in a way that he does not care what other people think about him. And I think that's indicative of his dress choices. Well, the way that he dresses himself, like he wears the shorts with the high socks and the penny loafers. Like, I would
Mhm.
never in a million years think to put those things together, like shorts and penny loafers. But hey, he's done it. It looks great
Mhm.
on him, and the creativity in his music, the way that he's able to just drive a cohesive narrative together in his
Mm,
albums. And then when you listen to his album, it feels like you're in his world. And he's able to
mm,
do that and find a way to loop it into the way that he produces merch in the real world, the way that he rolls out a new product, the way that he
mm.
does everything. It just seems like it's coming from such an authentic place that it's like,
Wow.
I'd like to just have an opportunity to pick his brain a little bit to see just, I mean, his art, I feel like is a reflection of who he is, but to actually see who he is would
Well,
be,
his process, you're saying, is
yeah,
it's his process that really that's incredible.
yeah.
So just what would it look like to be in dinner with you guys? Like, well, what would the conversation sound like? Like, well, just
Yeah.
play that out for us just a little bit.
I think it would be a lot of trying to figure out how he thinks about things, because like my one thing, when there's like a complex piece of art that is like dynamic and it seems like there's like multiple moving pieces, um, like you drop an album, a screenplay, the set design's all the same. There's a clothing line that goes with it that seems like it's the same colors as the music. It's like, what the
Mm,
heck came first? Like, how did
right.
like where did
How
you
did this all
start?
come to be?
Yeah, like
Gotcha.
where was your brain storing process? Like
Wow.
were you thinking about the music and then you came up with a drum sound and the drum sound inspired the color? Like what like how did that come to be? Like really trying to figure out the framework that came about, because I think when you are a multi I'm trying to think multi-platform artist, and you kind of have these these different vehicles that you use to express your creativity. I'm always interested to see how their brains work, because like for
Mm,
me, I only think in as of right now, I only think in words. So it's like
mm.
how like the people that are able to think beyond the words, the
I
sounds,
love
the
that.
colors, the smells, like when you
Wow.
can get that vivid, it's like how.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so inspired right now. That is incredible. That is absolutely amazing. And
And that's all
well,
Tyler. That's why
yeah,
I'm like
no,
so inspired by him. Is just like figuring out how, because he has
I can see that.
a fragrance that he created that goes with his album, and I'm like, I don't
Mm.
know how you captured the album in the smell, but that's it.
That is, yeah, I mean, I could see that right now. I have this like as you're saying it, and I'm like, what do I know about that Tyler guy? Actually, he's right. Yeah, that like, and like now that you say even he has a fragrance, like how the heck did he do that? Like I could see that totally.
Yeah.
That is absolutely cool. And yeah, again, Will, thank you so much for this. This is absolutely incredible. And hey, guys, if you're not inspired right now, this is super fun. Go back and rewatch this interview until you find that inspiration. And hey, if you want to be a guest on this show, this is what we're all about, is that we want to celebrate you, advocate for you, highlight you. We want, you guys to be around because you do have a fingerprint and we want to help you leave that mark on the world. So if you want to be a guest on this show, reach out to us. There's the website, there's the email, it's tickering here on the bottom. And we highly encourage you to reach out to Will, connect with him. He's absolutely awesome. You could find him on his website, startwiththought.com or williamhenrywalker@gmail.com, and or connect with him on any of his social medias. We're going to have the links on the in the show notes and in the the links below here. We will you know help you connect to this awesomeness, to this incredible person, even if it's just pick his brain, just to chat with him, whatever it is. um Other than just hiring him also as a coach, why not? But
Yeah.
but we are so excited, and again, we're so humbled that you took the time to come spend with us. So Will, thank you so much for this. It's been incredible. It's been really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I love the opportunity to just kind of spitball back and forth, and just to go on the connection portion. If you're willing, because I'm literally building out my coaching business. I'm building out all the things that I'm going to um, kind of kind of do, and I'm broadcasting it, and conversations that I'm having just now. I'm showing up as where I am in my journey. So if you're interested and want to see the following, you want to see it progress, by all means, the website will eventually morph into something that will be an indication. Right now, it points you back to an older project, but this
Nice.
is going to morph. So feel free to follow me on my journey.
So I'm following Will on his YouTube. Is the YouTube's like I haven't watched in a little while, but I am following your journey in the YouTube.
Oh yeah,
So we're gonna have that link up as well.
yeah.
That's where I kind of like I watched the video the other day and I was like, oh gosh, I need to reconnect with Will. Let me reach out to him again. So it's incredible, and it's really amazing what he's where he has been and where he's coming from, and join on his journey. It's a really incredible journey. I'm having a blast every single minute that I'm and thank you for sharing that with us. It's really incredible.
Yeah.
Really, really incredible.
Thanks for having me again, and thanks
Alrighty.
everyone for taking the time to watch.
Yeah. And again, last reminder, everybody, exceptionally irresistible at gmail.com. If you want to be highlighted on this show, if you want to share with us your journey, we're here to celebrate you and we're here to advocate for you and we're here to highlight you. So please join us, please reach out to us, and we would love to see you guys soon for another episode of these casual chats. So thanks everybody for taking the time, and Have a great and awesome day. See you soon.
See you.
Bye.